Live and alive. What's going on this fine Tuesday evening out in MECA land? It's Tuesday night, BudTalk Live. So how's everybody doing this week? I hope everybody's off to a good week. Guess it's the second day, so it can still go to crap real fast, I suppose. But I hope everybody's week started off well. What are we up to this week? I don't know if my chat's going to work or not, but it looks like it is. What's going on, Sierra? So I do got a few things I'm going to start off with, and then I think I'm going to hopefully get into some rule books here. I know I got into it a little bit before they were done one evening, but we do have them done now. I've got some PDFs up on here, so hopefully I can share my screen, and we'll get into that a little bit. But let's see here. Like I said, I hope everybody's got a good week starting off. I know I did a live there while we were in Florida right after the show, but I just wanted to kind of go over a quick recap. Obviously, I want to thank everybody that came out for the training. We had a 4X there on Saturday. Tony, Wayne, Shannon, myself, and then we had several of the trainees out there. We had around 45 entries, so that's pretty good for a Florida show. Looked like I think 18 of them were sound quality, so we had quite a few sound quality folks there. Had a little hiccup with that because we had to go all the way to the other side of the fairgrounds to get it done, and then ended up taking a little bit with the math there, but we got through it, and I think other than that, it was a pretty good event, and it was our first time, so no. Anyways, we did have a couple of new world records set at the event. I think Tony Pasquale did Park and Pound 2 and Cabin Clout Street 1, and then Omar Frias set the world record and Cabin Clout Modified 3, I believe. So we got a few empty slots on the world record list. Obviously, Bandwidth Bangers, Cabin Clout. Get yourself out to one of the 4Xs and put your name on the list. Set the bar here. So I do finally have a list of world records. It looks like I'm going to check my chat box here real quick. What's going on, Miss Melissa, Mr. Jeffrey, Mr. Joe, Mr. Matt Rogers, Miss Mona? Yeah, I heard it a little bit on my phone, Jeffrey. Those of you that didn't hear it, I do have the official MECA flash drives. I've still got several of them, so if you want one, shoot us a text or a message, and I'll see about getting them shipped to you guys. If you want them. What's going on, Mr. Maurice? But I give y'all a little preview. I can play my music now. But I listened to this one. But anyways, let's see if I can share my screen here for the world record list. Y'all check out that. All right. What's going on, Miss Rogers, Mr. Dustin, The flash drives are $20 plus shipping, so I'm gonna guess probably around 25 or so with shipping. I haven't shipped any of them yet, but we'll have them at the event as well, um, for $20. Anyway, so I got this pulled up here. I'm gonna take it to a full screen. So I'm pretty sure I got this up to date here. So Street 1, Tommy Dunn. Street 2, Kyle Chenault. Street 3, Jack Hawley. Street 4, Sam Dunn. Street 5, Kenneth Trauber. And again, these are just the records that, we started doing it last year. So moving forward, and I'm pretty sure I got this up to date. If you see a mistake or something like that, let me know. Modified 1, Jeremy Wiley. Modified 2, Paul Hume. Modified 3, Kyle Meshke. Modified 4, Curtis Agency. Modified 5, J. Coe. Mod Street 1 and 2, Whitney Alt. Mod Street 3, Jack Hawley. Mod Street 4, Mr. Eric Gregory. Trunk 1, Matt Holleran. Trunk 2, Danny Black. XST 1, Matt Holleran. XST 2, Danny Black. XMS 1, Douglas Morin. XMS 2, you see a blank there. That's a new class we added this year. So nobody's got a record in that yet. Radical XCC, which is a center console or dash subwoofer location class. There's no record there either. Let's see, is my screen moving? Yeah, okay. So XM1, Jeremy Wiley. XM2, Curtis Agency. Rad X, Dante Jones. Park and Pound 1, Nick Bowser. Park and Pound 2, that was set this weekend at the 4X, Tony Pasquale. And he did use the official MECA track, so that's a good sign. Park and Pound 3, Tony Pasquale. Park and Pound 4, Daniel Suarez. Park and Pound 5, Brad Beecraft. And then Cabin Cloud S1, Tony Pasquale. And Cabin Cloud M3, Omar Friez. So those are your current SPL world records. And once we get the new site launched here in March or at the end of March, I will get these posted for you guys. Again, I don't know why, but it won't let me post PDFs to the main page here. But those are your current list of world records right this second. So world records can be set at 4Xs or world finals. So if you'd like to set yourself a world record, set your eyes on one of these numbers, knock it out. Obviously, we got the new classes with the Cabin Clout and the Bandwidth Bangers. So I need some of you guys to play that music to come on out and set the bar for some folks and get these records going. All right, let's see here. Chat box. What's going on, Mr. Downey, Miss Whitney, Mr. Gamble? I have a limited amount of the flash drives right now, James. But we are working on, getting a good size shipment going. And then once I have all that figured out, then we should be able to get them out and around all the judges so they can have them. But yes, that's the plan. You can also, I think, get them off the Dirty Bass website if you have a subscription. But I'll have them for $20 at the events. What's going on, Miss Alt, Mr. Miller, Mr. Roman Jason, Mr. Jeremy Ball? How you guys doing this evening? So world records, like I said, we had a couple set this weekend, but not too many. What's going on, Mr. Smiley? Um, so I'm looking to see some of these get broke this year. And what else we got going? I do want to thank, Audio Sellers and US Amps again for sponsoring the awards and the training there at the Forex. And then also we did start our install on our sound quality truck so we can start trying to train mobile, get a few more judges started off quicker so we don't miss connections, things like that. Just a reference so we have a vehicle as well as our standard, system that we'd set up in a room or whatever. But so we did get that going. Like I said, we're waiting on one more piece and then should have everything together for that. And we'll be able to start tuning on it and hopefully getting it sounding right. But I want to thank Arc Audio, US Amps, and Prodigy Audio for helping us out with the gear in the truck. And then also Creative Car Audio and Tony down there in Orlando. Thanks again for all your help with the install and getting it going. And I've got, some videos and a full build log and all that stuff coming once we get it done. The USBs will be available on the new website when it launches, yes. But if you want one, you can shoot me or Shannon a message, and I have a few right now I could ship, and I'll be working on having a bunch more here soon. What's going on, Mr. Matt? Mr. Mike Mack? All right. Now, what else we got going on here? I guess real quick before I get into the rule books and stuff, I do plan on trying to go over every rule book, fairly quickly this evening. So we might be on a little longer because as you guys ask questions and things, we'll see how it goes. But I am going to try to get through most of the rule books. I don't think we had any real big changes other than, the new classes, a couple things in street class. And I don't know, the rest of them are pretty similar. Couple changes in sound quality, mostly just reformatting and clarifications and dueling demos. Show and shine, a little bit of reformatting, score sheets a little bit different. So yeah, we'll get into that. But again, as I announced earlier, I just want to make sure everybody knows it's going to be 65 points to get yourself to finals this year. We did change that. It's also 4X points are up to 30 points for first place now. So everybody that attends a 4X will get 15 points. And then it'll be fifth place 18, 21, 24, 27, and 30. So that makes it hopefully a little bit more competitive for the folks that, make the drives and things like that. You get a few more extra points, basically still halfway to qualifying for finals that way. So that's a good thing. Again, the training, I'm not going to take a whole lot of time, but it was the first time I presented the training in this manner. We went over every format we have. We didn't get real deep into a lot of it. We got to scratch the surface. We obviously, dove the deepest with the sound quality section. However, with this new training program, that we're implementing, I believe it's going to help with consistency across the board. That's what we're looking for. Basically, we give everybody a general background, a general knowledge, kind of what we represent. where we're trying to push the ball. And then, you know, we do a lot of work uh, preparing basically packets for the new judges, the trainees. Some of them will become judges, some of them will become event directors, some of them might, take MECA to another country. So um, we send all those folks home with a packet. Basically, I like to call it the toolbox, but we give them a general knowledge and a foundation, and inside the toolbox is basically all the tools they need to make themselves, you know, as good of a judge as they want to be. So I was really happy with how that went. Obviously, learning a few things still, and that'll get better as we go. But I'm really excited about the future. And we had judges from Iowa, Kentucky, Michigan, Georgia, um, the Virgin Islands. So we're going to see some growth, and I'm excited about that, and really looking forward to the future here. So we've got some new folks coming on, and some exciting things happening there. So the training went really well, and I appreciate all you guys that came out, and hopefully you learned a little bit. And if anything, you learned a little bit about, who we are, and what MECA stands for and all that good stuff. And like I said, I'm looking forward to the future here with these training programs, which that brings me to, I believe we'll be putting one on the schedule in Michigan here very soon. So any folks from the northern section that would like to come to a training, get with us, and keep your eyes peeled for that Michigan training. Otherwise, if you're somewhere where it's not feasible or close, reach out to us. Like I said, we did, install this system and things, and I think we have things set up in a manner now. If we need to do a training on the go to get somebody off the ground, that's going to be possible now. So a lot of exciting things there. So I think that's pretty much all I had until we get into these rule books. Let's see. What's going on, Mr. Eric Ruth, Mr. Haslage, Mr. Beard, Mr. Crane, Mr. Roman Jason. All right, I think I'm caught up on the chat there. I guess we'll get into some rule books here. Let me find the one I want. I think it's that one. Yeah. I guess we'll start in sound pressure here. All right. So I'm just going to kind of go down through here real quick and go over the main changes. A lot of this stuff, especially here at the beginning, you'll see the 65 points, 35 points for state champions. We left the military first responder, those with events that are 250 miles or further from their home. We left that at, I can grant you a 30-point, basically commissioner's exemption. So the rest of this stuff is highlighted because I basically reformatted it. We didn't really change what any of this stuff said. We just kind of reformatted it. So hopefully it's a little easier to follow for you guys. We'll get to that stuff later. Like I said, most of this stuff here is basically just the same stuff formatted a little differently, so hopefully it's a little easier to follow. Reworded this here for the 36-inch rule, so hopefully that's a little bit more clear. We added 2 classes in X, which is XMS2 and XCC, so X Center Console. We added a park and pound class, which is park and pound X. I'll go over the rules for the added classes when we get there. We added bandwidth bangers, which there's 6 classes there. We added 7 cabin clout classes. Let's see. We changed up the Bobo stuff a little bit. So did I miss that? I might have missed it. But basically, we changed sound pressure best to show, so it includes X class also. So basically, park and pound X class and sound pressure. All right, general rules. Again, this is another section that basically I just kind of reformatted it. So hopefully, like I said, again, it's a little bit easier to follow some of it. All right. World record stuff. So world records can only be set at 4X events and World Final Sound Fest using Term Lab metering system. World records may only be established at 4X event or designated world record events where the MECA commissioner is personally present to verify the vehicle equipment and metering process. And then that's the same, but I know I brought the fluke meters and stuff out at finals last year, and some people might not have quite understood that. So I've laid this out in the rule book for our clamped classes to certify world records. Basically, I'm clamping the DC input. If you got a Class D amplifier, you got a 20% variance from what the Term Lab shows. If you got an AB amplifier, you got a 40% variance. So that's exactly what we're looking at. That's what I'm looking for. If you got more than that as a variance, then that's going to raise questions and we won't be certifying the record. SPL and X divisions require 2 passes to set the world record. The lowest score is recorded as the record. In the music classes, park and pound, bandwidth bangers, and cabin clout, to set a world record in those classes, you just must inform the judge prior to the run that you're going to go for a record. These formats, the record will be set with a single pass. So that's the world record stuff. Here's something new that we did this year, the multi-entry rule guide. So basically in sound pressure classes and X classes, you're allowed to enter into the next division above. So you could go above but not below. And basically it's kind of laid out in here, and it's only for sound pressure and X. All other formats will remain the same where it's one class only. But this is just something we're going to try out and see how it goes. The points don't get shared. You have to earn the points in each specific class in order to earn your finals invite. I added some stuff in here about all-inclusive events because, we make different deals with different promoters. So, that's in there so it's clear to everybody. Trunk was basically no changes in the trunk division. Street division, I updated the class the class definition, but there's no changes in the rules in trunk. For street classes, there was one change, and that's basically how we measure the height. So for street class, we're going to go to a 12-inch rule, basically like modified street. So basically, you got 12 inches from the headliner. No portion of the box or equipment can be closer than that. And it explains to you how the measurement's taken and, you know, all that good stuff. So it's essentially the same rule as modified street for the 12-inch gap. Everything else in street class remained the same. Modified street updated the definition there. And other than that, I don't believe we changed anything in modified street. For the modified class, same thing. I upgraded the definition, and I don't think we changed anything in these rules either. X class, obviously we added the two classes, and then another big thing we did here for XC, that is the only class that is metered at the headrest in X. It is meant for center consoles and vehicles with subwoofers located in the dash. Meter placement. So X class, I guess we'll just give a real quick brief history real quick. And I'm just running through this, and then I'll check your guys' questions and we'll go from there. But X class essentially got turned into an exhibition class. So I don't know, 14, 15 years ago. And slowly over time, we've added to it, and people have taken it more and more seriously, and we've added to it and taken it more seriously and added to it. And so here we are. So it seemed like people were starting to take these kick classes, pretty serious. So if we're going to take them serious, then we're going to put the sensor in a specific location and, stop building holes for them and all that stuff. So I might have a few more things coming with the stand and stuff here in the future. But for now, basically, the sensor must face forward toward the headlights. No pockets, shrouds, custom loading pockets, cups, or deadener caves are strictly prohibited. The sensor must be open to the cabin atmosphere. Dash plane restriction. The sensor must be placed entirely below the horizontal plane defined by the lowest edge of the main dashboard assembly. Factory center consoles are not counted as part of the lowest edge, regardless of whether they are molded or how they attach. No dash diving. The sensor may not be passed through the dash openings or placed inside vents, glove boxes, or cavities behind the dashboard, skin, or deadener. Mounting. The sensor may be placed anywhere in the front footwell, on the skin, deadener, or floorboard. You'll also see an extreme class. I put a little guideline on that as well. So there's a specific sensor location in the floor of an extreme vehicle. You've got the guideline for the headrest placement for your XC class. And then I allow for some duct tape if the suction cups aren't going to hold it, basically to hold the meter in place. So that's the big change in extreme class. Park and pound. So park and pound X class is basically the big change there. And the music. So Park and pound X class will be a class where you can meter from the passenger or driver side. You'll be allowed mechanical means of bracing, straps, bolts, clamps, suction cups, sandbags. Still no people, but you can use mechanical bracing. The music. So For now, for 1 through 3X events, competitors can still use their own music for Park and Pound, provided they follow the guideline for changing every 5 seconds. I will be basically, you'll have to play the MECA flash drive at 4X events and world finals, and the tracks will be basically provided for you. In 2027, we'll go to a full implementation of the Park and Pound tracks for Park and Pound and Cabin Clout, and you'll have to use those tracks. You'll just be able to use your source until 4X events. All this stuff's still basically the same. We just changed, hopefully made it a little bit more clear about crowding and funneling, where you're allowed to be and things like that, boundaries. Like I said, a lot of this stuff isn't necessarily different. It's just laid out a little bit differently, so that hopefully it's a little bit, easier to follow. Then you've got the bandwidth banger class. Basically, like I said, 6 classes. You got a street class. You got 2 mod street, 2 mod, and an X. This is a 3-minute track. It's a 60-second average. You can play any part of the track you want, and the track plays 20 to 50 hertz. It's basically, meant to test your thermal endurance, your electrical efficiency, and your acoustic linearity. So, this is something that requires a sustained effort, over the basically full musical spectrum. So, it's going to really test your systems. It should be fun. Looking to see some people set the bar in this class, and I think it's going to really be fun once people start doing it here. So bandwidth bangers, and that's on the flash drive as well. All right, Cabin Clout is basically going to be your in the car Park and Pound style music class. So basically, you use the Park and Pound tracks that are on the MECA flash drive, and you can play any of those tracks you want. And you've got 7 classes there: 2 street classes, 2 mod street classes, 2 mod classes. I got a typo. Whoops. And then the X class. And those are pretty much just going to mirror your standard formats, and I don't think we really changed anything else. I think I just cleaned up wording on this here, but it's not different. Yeah, everything else is the same. So let me check my chat here. All right. What's going on, Mr. Coe? Okay. Doo-doo. What is variance? So let me go back here. Basically, if the term lab says you put out 10,000 watts and the clamp says you took in 13,000 watts, you lose. Oh. But basically it's the difference in the power that went in versus the power that came out. I'm getting ready to do sound quality next, Aaron, but right now I'm in sound pressure, so I'm getting through these questions in my chat, and then we'll be moving into sound quality, but there's not a whole lot of changes there. Yep, no seat requirement, height requirement anymore, Christina. All right. What's going on, Mr. Anderson? All right, Melissa, the bandwidth banger stuff. I have an email out to Wayne, and that will be it's gonna probably be sometime after the Master Tech Expo before he gets back with me with an update. So for now, we're gonna probably be hand entering them, and I won't be able to add them until the new class launches. So basically, I guess if we got shows in the meantime where people do it, make sure you log it and send it to me so that I can make sure I enter them when the new website launches. And then once the site launches, we should have a term lab update where it should all start working together. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to change to the sound quality rule book now. If you guys have questions on the rule books, you can ask them, and I'll try to get to them. But I'm going to try to get through all the rule books. But like I said, we didn't really do a whole lot of changes, so that's a pretty good thing, I think. But let's see here, sound quality rule book. Bam. All right. So again, kind of the same thing here. I just changed the formatting of some of this stuff. So I highlighted it because I edited it. So the first thing we changed in sound quality was stock class. So you're allowed to have unlimited bands of EQ now. You still have to choose between a head unit or a processor, but you can have unlimited bands of EQ. So that is one pretty big change for sound quality. And basically, this is just cleaning that up so you understand that you're allowed to have a head unit or a processor. Um, you're just allowed unlimited bands of EQ at this point. Excuse me. Let me get a drink. And like I said, I don't think we changed a lot. So modified street was a change. Modified street. Uh Kick panels may be used to mount additional pair of 8-inch or smaller speakers, as stated by manufacturer. Subwoofer locations. Um, Subwoofers may be located anywhere inside the vehicle. Infinite baffle loading is permitted for subwoofer systems only, including the modification of the vehicle structure to allow for proper venting. Pickup trucks. IB subwoofer locations are allowed for blow-through configurations into the bed. Cutting of the cab and bed is permitted to facilitate these subwoofer locations. Cars and SUVs. IB enclosures mounting are permitted when located in the rear of the vehicle, the rear deck, or trunk to cabin interface. Cutting of metal or rear deck is allowed only to facilitate venting for these specific subwoofer locations. So we had some folks that wanted to run blow throughs and things, so we thought just to make it fair across the board, that was the easiest way to do it. So everything in the front of the vehicle is still the same, except for you're now allowed to, do a little more playing around with your subwoofer stage if you wish to. That's just clarification for the venting of speakers, because only the subwoofers are allowed to be vented. This is the same thing, clarifying the venting rule moving forward. Uh, Modified class, kick panels are limited to 12 inches or less instead of 10. I've seen some 11s coming out and stuff now, so that's that. And I believe that's pretty much it on sound quality stuff, other than, oh, this is a good one here. I almost forgot the linearity section. So you'll remember we used to have two linearity sections. So we had, I think it was like 80 to 95 and then 95 to 115 or something at one point. We lowered it down to 105 last year. And then this year we just kind of decided we'll have one linearity section from 80 to 100 dB. And then we took the other 5 points and basically added a section for listening experience and enjoyment. Um, it kind of tells you here what we're, judging on here. um, but basically, you only have one linearity section now, and then we have a listening experience and enjoyment section. So that changed the score sheet a little bit. The rest of that's the same. And then I think we're going to come up on one more thing that I added. It's not really a rule change per se. But I added some descriptions for the music in the rule book now. So you should be able to print these and have the little descriptions for the songs that we're using or the tracks that we're using. And then those are the old tantric tuning. So I believe that covers all of the sound quality changes. So let's see here. All right. I think I'm caught up on my chat. I'm not seeing any questions about the SQ stuff. So hopefully that means you guys like it all right. And moving right along here. I'm back. No. Let's see. No changes to the music as of yet. I do think we'll be adding a few more tracks this coming 2027. But for this season, we did a lot of work with the stage maps and getting the notes and stuff together. So we just went with the tracks that we had, and I think we're gonna add a couple moving forward, but it's gonna be next season. Let's see. What do you guys want to see next? We want to do dueling demos. Dueling demos. All right, I'm going to dive back in or dive right on into this one. And like I said, if you guys think of questions as I'm moving through this, go ahead and ask them. I'll try to get to you. If I miss you, ask again. But again, is this not the one? No, here it is. So most of this stuff is just basically reformatted. All this stuff is essentially, we didn't change any of the rules. I just reformatted it and changed some of the language. So hopefully it makes more sense and it's a little more clear and easier to follow. but we didn't really change any of the class rules or how you're classified. It's just laid out a little bit differently. For motorcycle dueling demos, we no longer count tweeters. Single position dueling demos is now 100 points. And we're going to replace 360 sound with projection, which is basically width and height. We're also going to move back to 25 feet. And I believe a minute and a half on the single position rounds. But you get 100 points now. And like I said, we're moving back 10 more feet. And then we'll build off of that, hopefully, as we go here. This is something new that I put in here. The World Finals Dueling Demos Arena and the ring presentation and how we judge at World Finals. It was brought to my attention last year. It wasn't in the rule book, and it should be. So there is a reason why we do that. And basically, this is the layout of it, exactly what's there. How big it is. We added a lane. So for the larger classes, the judges will move to the outer 3 rings. For the lower classes, they'll be on the inner 3 rings. And that's explained right here. And then you've got the diagram of the Dueling Demos ring right here. So basically, we're searching for the best sounding vehicles, in the country, in the world. And so we're judging from 3 separate distances because the vehicle is going to sound different pretty much in each ring. So you're going to hear different things. That's why we're using a 3 judge average. That's also why super close or super matching, because what the judge hears in the farthest ring is not going to be what the judge hears in the first ring. So it's kind of set up that way by design. And it's really just a way, to try to make everything fair and help us separate the really, really good cars, from basically separate the top tier from the ones that are just behind them. So the other thing we did was we changed song choice to musical, what we call it, musical display. But now we've changed that to tonal coverage. So it's essentially exactly what it means. I didn't really change what we were judging there. That's pretty much exactly the same. I just changed the name of the section to tonal coverage. I did add the use of lights or screens into showmanship. So those guys that integrate lights or screens into their sound system have a way to get a showmanship point as well. I think that's pretty much the basic changes in dueling demos. Like I said, mostly we just reformatted all this stuff. Not a whole lot of it is changed. It's just reformatted. Some of the wording is cleaned up, but it should just be a little easier to understand and a little easier to follow. So that was dueling demos. You missed it all. What's going on, Mr. Carroll? You missed everything, Tully. What's going on, Mr. Gibbs? Yeah, clean music only. Clean music only. All right. So, like I said, not a whole lot of big changes. We did, adding the classes was a big deal, the street class thing. But other than that, I think most people are going to find that, everything's pretty similar. I did work on formatting and trying to make things a little easier to follow. But let's see here. Minimize, stop. Let's see. Let's do MECA Kids real quick, and then we'll finish it up with Show and Shine. So I got the MECA Kids rule book here. MECA Kids rule book. It's a big one. Um, let's see. MECA Kids. So I don't know that we really changed any of the rules per se, at least up here. But there was quite a few things like MECA Kids Dueling Demo, Show and Shine, and Ride the Light that weren't really in the rule book. So I added those to the rule book. We changed the 12-volt rule to basically the vehicle must be operated from a battery. Now that there's 24 and 48-volt electric kids toys, we figured, we could remove the 12-volt thing. Clarified entry fees and memberships for the kids. So all that's laid out in the rule book now, and it should be pretty straightforward. So, people don't have to ask questions and, all that good stuff. So basically, kids' prices are laid out in the rule book now. All that stuff basically stayed the same. I thought there was one more thing. Maybe it was just no, it was just the adding the classes and the battery thing. So that was pretty simple, I guess. Let's see here. Stop. All right, one more, I think. And then I'll be able to answer questions if you guys have them. Let's see. Show and Shine, right? Yes, sir. Show and Shine, Mr. Wayne. Show and Shine. I don't really think we changed a whole lot here either. Let me get to it here. So, yeah, this is all still laid out pretty much exactly the way it was last year. And we didn't change anything in Show and Shine, so that was the easiest one, except for we did change the score sheet. Still 100 points. Basically, still judging the same in the same manner. We just laid the score sheet out so it's a little bit easier to follow for the judge. Basically, working from the front to the back of the car. And I thought maybe the score sheet was in here, so I was going to show you. But I guess that was not necessary, huh? What else did we do, Wayne? Is there something else we did as far as judging it's concerned? Yeah, that's what I thought. So we're looking this year to hopefully pump the Show and Shine up a little bit more, so we can, add to these rules or adjust these rules. I know in the training, it was our first time giving the show and shine presentation. Wayne did great, great job there. I think he got a lot of people excited about show and shine. Got some questions flowing and things like that. So we've already got some ideas. But MECA show and shine. If you got a show and shine car, get out there. Oh yeah, we did separate van and SUV, so that was did too. Um, but come check us out. We will not it just doesn't show up now, but it tracks it now, but it's not showing up, but it will. So yes, it's a full-fledged format. Basically everything we do now is set up to be a full mecha format. None of them are considered exhibits or exhibitions. I'm setting it all up to hopefully start pressing the gas pedal on all of it. Um, so I'd like to see some more show and shine guys get involved with us so we can build on these rules and make show and shine great for everybody as well. Yeah, for now until I'm done changing them, but I think we're getting pretty close. So it shouldn't be too much longer, Daryl, and I'll start getting the carbon copies again. All right, let's see here. I think that was everything I wanted to share. So if you guys have any questions for me, you could go ahead and shoot them now. I can't believe I got through it that quick. I didn't realize we didn't change that much, but I think most of the changes that we did make, they were pretty good and they were necessary. And I think most of them were pretty good changes. So if you guys have questions, we can answer those. And otherwise, I can get ready to sign out. So I'm going to go back up in the chat here, make sure I didn't miss anybody. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. So again, I appreciate everybody for getting on here and hanging out with us. I'm pretty excited about the future. I think I've gone over all the changes that are in the rule books. Um, so yeah, most of it was language cleanup, really. You can get the PDFs off of some of the group pages for the rule books for now. It looks like the new website's going to launch into March, very first of April. So we're coming along on that. Um, and once we get that, um, once we get that up, the rule books will be located there. No, I didn't do that, Tully. I can maybe if I can probably email it to you if you want me to, yeah. But I don't know if my mass mailer thing works correctly. It's been giving me stuff. But hopefully once the new site's together, I'll be able to do all that. I think they're in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Iowa. Um, yeah, I got sidetracked at the training when I was trying to share them because it won't let me post PDFs on the main page. All right. Well, I hope everybody's going to have a great week this week. I'm glad everybody got on and hung out with me tonight. Hopefully, I answered some questions about the rules. Again, I recapped the training. Really looking forward to the future and the new growth. Got to teach about 15 people. Got my truck most of the way together so I can start traveling to train people. Um, yeah, I can share them, Kevin. The Forex went off pretty well in Florida, so I'm excited about the year. It's almost time for us, for you northern guys, to get your show started. So, March is coming up quick. The PMP 5 world record is 141.95. I'll end it off sharing those for you here. Here is your current world record list. Oh, let's see here. I'll scroll down to Park and Pound there for you. Kevin, for now, yes. Yeah, for now, yes. All right, so that's your current world record list. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and I think you guys know the drill from here. But until next time, keep it loud and clear, mecha heads.